This video is going to be a complete beginner tutorial for Autodesk FORMA. Now you might be thinking, well, what is Autodesk FORMA? And that is a cloud-based software for early stage planning and design. You're probably confused, and I am as well, so let me explain. This is a web browser-based software, so you don't have to download and install anything. If you have a Autodesk AEC pack, so usually if you have Revit, you have access to FORMA. And what this does, it allows you to pick out the location of your project. It's going to find a map of that project. It's going to find the topography. It's going to find the buildings and road information. And then you can set up your early stage design. So you can find where the location of the project is going to be. You can try out different approaches to creating buildings. You can create many different proposals, and then most importantly, you can run testing. So you can test for sun, daylight, wind, noise, so on and so forth. And once you run all of these analyses, you can compare them, and once you figure out which one is the best, you can actually load it into Revit, and it's going to bring everything in. So it's going to bring in the topo solid, it's going to bring in the surrounding buildings, the roads, and the building that you have built. So that's going to be everything which we're going to cover in today's video. Let's go. Now quickly, before we jump into FORMA, I would just like to ask you to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com. I'm going to link it up in the cards above and then also down in the description of this video. If you're serious about learning Revit, that's definitely the best place to be, with over 140 hours of content dedicated to all of the interesting and complex topics inside of Revit. So now, without any further ado, let's jump straight into, well, Autodesk.com. So here I am at Autodesk.com. You want to make sure that you're logged in, and then if you open up here your account settings or your account, you can go here to products and services, and as long as you have the AEC collection, you should have access to FORMA. I'm not really sure about Revit if you have Revit only, but with the AEC collection you will definitely have access. So here, if I search for FORMA, here I'm just going to click access, and then that's going to open up basically a web browser app. So it's going to switch to EU region because I'm located I guess in the EU region, and then here you need to choose your hub. I already have this Balkan Architect hub, so I'm just going to click there, or you can create a new one if you want. Now here, this is kind of our starting page. Here we have our projects. So here you can see you have your recent projects. You can create folders. So basically here you create folders, and then you can open them up for your active projects. You can have your finished projects, or if you just go to projects, it's going to look like this. So that's for the projects. You have members, so you can add team members, your colleagues, and so on. So you can have them listed out over here. And then if you just go to your home page, this is just going to show you your recent projects and some additional information. Okay, so to start a new project, what you want to do is you want to go here to create project, and that's going to open up this page. You want to select your country, well, the project location country. So I'm just going to search for Serbia here. Let's see. Then for the folder, you can put it in one of the existing folders, or you can just leave it at none. And then for the projects, let's call this one a FORMA test project. You can turn on invite only project if you want, so if you don't want just anybody to have access, and then you just want to click next, and now you need to search for your location. So you can just zoom in, so I can come here to Serbia and then just zoom in, or I can enter the exact address. So I'm just going to pick out this exact address. So I actually want this to be my project location. Now, if I zoom out, you're going to notice that at some point it's just going to lose that rectangle or kind of the border, and here you can click on confirm. However, if you zoom out far enough, it's not going to allow you to confirm. So basically it is going to allow you to pick out to a certain extent how much of the area you want to pick, but obviously you can't have the whole world. So this is kind of the limit. Once you get the rectangle, you can then click here to confirm map area. So this is in total 1.37 kilometers. I think this is more than enough. So once we have that, it's going to start loading in data for that particular location into your Forma project. Once this is done, it's just going to show it. And this is what we get. So now we have the other data which we can import. So by default, it's going to give you the terrain. So it is going to have all of the elevation differences for the terrain. It's not going to be perfectly precise, but overall it's really good. You can opt out for the flat terrain if you want. So just click to select that. I'm just going to keep the regular terrain. You can add buildings for free, which is good. So you just click on that, and now you get another rectangle. So here you can just pick out kind of where you want those buildings to come from. So is it going to be the same area, or is it going to be perhaps a smaller area if you don't want everything populated by buildings? In this case, I'm just going to leave it as is, and then click here to order, or click on order, and then it was ordered successfully. And then finally we can add roads as well. So here I can come to roads, click on that, and then I can get roads for this specific location as well. Just needs to load in, click order, and now that has been ordered successfully as well. So once we have all of this done, we have our buildings, the terrain, the roads. Now we can just exit out of here. And now if I come here to the library, you can see all of those listed here. So I'm just going to close this. It's congratulating me, which is nice. Then I'm just going to come here to roads, and then you can insert the roads. So just click on these little three dots. You can go to place in canvas, and it's just going to load in those roads. You can see from the kind of original map, it shows a few more roads than what's going to be loaded in. Only the blue lines are going to be loaded in. So that's just the info that Autodesk has. So in this case, I'm happy with that. So let's just click add. And now as you can see, everything with this dark gray is an actual road. Then we can go to buildings. So let's click on the three dots as well, place on canvas. So it's going to start loading all of those in. Now here, especially for the buildings, you might not want to include all buildings. So what you can do is you can just make a broad selection and just select some of the buildings. So let's say I don't want to have these ones over here, which I kind of left out. So for that, I can just select these ones. As long as they're selected, when I click add, it's only going to include those buildings. So see here on this side, we didn't really populate this with buildings at all. And that's pretty much it. The terrain is already there. It already has all of the elevations, so that is fine. Now, when it comes to buildings, really depending on the location, you're going to get more or less data. Same thing goes for the roads. So for example, this is what it would look like if you picked out Manhattan. So there's a little bit more detail. Well, it might be a lot more detail, but as you can see, there's just more information about that particular location. So it's going to give you more. In this case, this is all we have, but I think it's more than enough for this project. Now, if at any point you need to change something, or you need to perhaps remove some of the houses or the buildings, what you can do is you can just select them, and then here you can go to edit base to make changes, and then you can just select this and delete it. So I'm just going to delete these ones here just because this is going to be where we're going to be working at. Okay, so now I'm just going to click on done, and then let's go back here to our navigator, and that's where we have our proposals. Now let's cover the interface quickly. So just to compare this to Revit, this is just going to be kind of like your project browser, and then this is going to be your ribbon as well as your properties panel. So here we have your tools. And then if you select something, this is where you're going to get the actual data for that particular element. So your proposals are going to be over here. So obviously we're going to be working with multiple proposals. So if you have a site, you want to test out multiple ideas, run some analysis, and then use that data to basically create an informed decision on the whole kind of design approach. So in this case, let's first make some changes to the first proposal, and then we're going to duplicate that. So everything that's going to be kind of based on the first proposal, the second one, and the third one, something that's not going to change, you do that now, and then you duplicate those. So you basically have that on each one of those, and it's not different on each one. So what I want to do first is perhaps let's add a road just to connect it with this existing road. So for that, I'm just going to find our transportation, click on roads, and then here I can just draw a road. So I can just come in here and draw a road going in perhaps like that, just following this existing road here, and then just hit the enter key just to complete that road. Okay, moving forward, we also want to add a site. So here you have the limits, and here we have the site limits. You just click on that, and now you basically sketch out the site. So the site is going to go from pretty much here and then go all the way around, basically following the following this road. So you can just follow that like so, like this, and then let's add one more point here, and then I'm just going to hit enter again just to finish that site. And finally, something that I already have on site, which I would like to keep, is a tree line following this road here. So for that, we can go here to vegetation, tree line, and then I can just create a tree line following basically this line of the site. Then you want to hit enter, and it's going to place those trees there. You can set their width, so let's go here to 2 meters, and then here you have the spacing, so you can adjust the offset, you can adjust the height of the trees, so let's do something like this, and then for the spacing, yeah, let's go like that. And now we have some trees over here. So basically this is going to be the site. This is going to be something that's not going to change from proposal to proposal, and now I can start duplicating these proposals. So for that, let's click here on 3 dots, go to duplicate, and oops, and that's going to create 2 additional proposals. So let's just rename this one into proposal 2, and then this one, oops, this one is going to be renamed into proposal 3. There we go. Okay, so let's start off with the proposal 1. I'm just going to open that one up, and now let's create a building here. So for the building, you have different approaches. So I'm just going to come here to generic, and then let's model this as a volume. So just click on that, and then you can start sketching out, and then we can go perhaps like that. You can enter a number here, so if I type in 20, it's just going to go up to 20 meters, and then let's click there, then let's can go parallel back, and yeah, once we're done, we hit enter, and then we can just adjust the height. So for height, let's go up to, let's go up to something like this. And now we have that building there. Now you can still adjust it, you can move it, you can rotate it. So for example, for rotation, I can just take it and rotate it like this. And now we have our proposal number 1. Now for this building, you can still adjust it. So if I select it, you can see this is just generic. We can add floors, and then I can say, okay, so this building is going to have 3 floors, for example, and then for function, it's currently unspecified. Let's say that this is a commercial space, so I'm just going to adjust it like that. Okay, moving forward, let's now go to our proposal number 2, and for the proposal number 2, I'm just going to be building this as a line building. So let's click here on line, and then let's just adjust this. So the width is going to be 12 meters here. That's perfectly fine. So I'm just going to start from here, go on like that, and then I'm going to kind of follow the the perimeter of this building, perhaps like that, and then complete it like this. So this is going to be our second proposal. We can still now select this, we can go to function, and then let's say this is going to be commercial as well. And then finally for our proposal number 3, let's click on that, so it's going to open that up now. And for proposal number 3, let's click here on, let's go back, so you just go here to buildings, and then let's do this as a basic building. So what that's going to do is it's just going to allow you to create a basic building. So here I'm just going to kind of follow this shape. Let's go up, something like this, 3 levels, that's fine. So we have our basic building here. Let's create now a new one. So this one is going to be here, something like that. Again, just following kind of the shape of our site. Yeah, perhaps like that. And that should be it. And then let's make this 3 levels as well. And then I'm just going to add one more over here. So let's do that. And for this one, I'm also going to add a bit more vegetation. So let's add an area of trees over here. So something like that. Hit enter, and there we go. We have some trees there, which is nice. And then here you can adjust it. So spacing and height can be adjusted, and I'm happy with the way that this turned out. Okay, so now we have 3 proposals. We have proposal number 1, which looks like this, one big building. Then we have this kind of atrium style building for proposal 2, and then for proposal 3 we have 3 individual buildings with a little tree area here. Finally, we need to adjust the functions. So let's set this to commercial. I want to select the entire building, commercial. There we go. Select this one, commercial, and then select this one and also commercial. Now you can select individual floors, as you can see, and then you can actually adjust it. So it kind of works similar to SketchUp. Obviously not exactly the same, but you can adjust it further if you want. So you can kind of select individual elements like this and then play around, and of course you have this 3D sketch option where you can sketch out a more complicated building. For now I'm just going to keep it with this, and then we can explore that in a further video if you're interested. Okay, moving forward, let's now start running the analysis. So for analysis, let's first go to our proposal number 1. Then here on the Analyze tab, the first one is Area Metrics, which is just going to give us some information on the area metrics. Then let's go to the sun hours, and here you can set the exact date, and then you can run the analysis. Here, once you have the analysis, you're going to be able to view that history, so you can run multiple ones or run ones with different settings. So as soon as this is done, it's going to show here see analysis results. So I'm just going to click on that, and then it's going to display the analysis, and this is what that looks like. So basically here we have the hours and the sun, and then we can just view what that looks like, where's their shade, and so on. So I'm just going to go back now, and then let's go to the daylight potential analysis. So let's click on run analysis for that. So let's see if we have enough daylight potential or daylight for our building. Again, I'm just going to click here on see analysis results as soon as it's done, and it's going to look like this. So here we have the analysis, and as you can see here, we have a little bit of a troubled area on that first level just because of this building, but overall that seems fine. Something that I find funny is that actually on trees it's going to be running the same analysis. So if you want to have some trees with windows, well, now you're going to figure out which trees actually need windows. Okay, so moving forward, let's go back here to the next set of analysis, which is going to be wind analysis. So for wind, you have comfort, and then you have direction. So again, it's just using all of the data that it has for this particular area. And then I'm just going to go here to comfort and run the analysis for that. and it's going to look like this. So this is the comfort analysis, and here it basically tells us how comfortable it is in terms of the wind for sitting, standing, strolling, walking, and then red is uncomfortable. So here for strolling it's kind of okay, and you can just kind of figure it out. Around the buildings it's better, and then here it's fine just to walk by, which kind of makes sense for this particular area, so that's fine. Then we can go to the microclimate and then run that analysis. Let's see that. Now click here to see the analysis result, and this is what that looks like. Let's see. Yeah, so it looks fairly fine. So this is for January, 2 o'clock. These are going to be the temperatures. So we now have that information as well, and how it changes, more importantly, around our building and in our area of interest. Now let's go back from the microclimate analysis, and then also here we have the noise and operational energy. Now if I click on this, it is going to allow me to run some sort of an analysis, and well, this is the result it has. It's green, so I guess it's good. Now this is a little bit weird. I don't really know what data it's using to get to this, so fine, okay. And then for the noise, unfortunately for this area, it's giving me 100%, which is like woohoo. However, it doesn't really have traffic data, so here it says traffic data missing. So I've tried to do or to run the same analysis in New York City, and this is what that looks like. So it's going to work different for different areas, obviously, depending on the available data. Now I have run these analyses for all three proposals, and now it's time to compare those. So here we have the compare button, and that's going to open up our proposals, and then here we have these two areas. So what I can do is I can go to my proposal 1, and then here it's going to list out all of the analysis which we have. Now I'm just going to take the sun analysis or sun hours and place it there. Then what I'm going to do is go to proposal number 2, and I'm just going to drag over the sun hours, and then here we can click to add click to split vertically. Okay, there we go. So we have another field, and then here let's add the sun hours from the third one, and now we can just kind of adjust this a little bit better. So I think this should be right, and now we can actually kind of move around all three of those, and then we can just analyze what that looks like. So here, for example, with this one we have a lot of shade in this particular corner. Here we have a lot of shading with the trees. Here we don't have that much shade, and we can just kind of compare these three design options and test out different types of analysis in this area. And finally, to bring this into Revit, what we can do is we can just go back here, or actually I want to go to the projects, Forma test project. So here, let's say I want to take this proposal number 3. I really like this one, and I just want to open it up in Revit and continue working on this. Well, now on this project, well, what I can do is I can just click on the 3 dots. I can go to Revit, and then I can go to send to Revit beta, and then we also have the download Revit add-in. So I do want to download the Revit add-in, which is going to happen right now. So here it's downloaded, and I can just install that. So this is the add-in installation process. Accept the terms and install. And then once this is installed, we're going to have this add-in inside of Revit. And now we go back here to Revit and then send to Revit beta, and it's going to tell us that the proposal has been sent to Revit. And now I can just minimize my web browser. I can go to Revit, start a new project here, click OK. And then as soon as that opens up, if I go to the Massing and Site tab, you're going to see that now we have this Forma panel, which is that plugin which we have downloaded. And now I can just click on Load Proposal, and that's going to load it in. It's going to show us our proposal 3, load. And once it's loaded, okay, we have some warnings, so we can review the warnings if we want. I don't care. Let's open up the 3D view and see what this looks like. So this is our 3D view. This is where we're at. So this is our proposal. And as you can see here, with this approach to creating buildings, it's actually created an exterior wall. It has created a roof. It has these trees. Now this is as a group. Let's try these. So these are also some generic model which are part of the group, edit group, and now you can select individual elements. So those are the trees. If I turn on the shadows, it's going to look a bit nicer. So there we go. We have an actual topo solid, which I think is great value to have an actual topo solid of the location. Again, it's not going to be terribly precise, but it is really good. And as far as I know, if you create this, so if you create this differently, it's just going to load it in as some sort of a generic model. So if you use a free form tool, it's going to bring it in basically as mass, and then you can apply walls and roofs and curtain panels to that. But overall, this is, I think, tremendous, and it does help a lot in the design process. So please tell me in the comment section below, what do you think about Forma? Is this something that you plan on using? From what I understand from Autodesk, this is a tool that's going to be updated quite a lot. It's a work in progress, but overall I think it is interesting and exciting, and if you want to see more videos, please tell me in the comments below. Also, if you want to get access to this Revit project file, as well as all of my other Revit project files, you can find all of those on my Patreon page, which I'm going to link up in the cards above, and then also down in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com, for more Revit courses. There I have over 120 hours of content, and I'm adding more each week. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and also I've added a video over there that might interest you as well.